So welcome to the feedback meeting, and we will try to keep it more, casual today so that we get to chat with each other, and we kind of, in an informal way, we get to hear from you as well, and we have some feedback. Let me just start with this. Angie and I, we have really loved reading your innovative teaching practice, and some of you were so motivated that you sent us 13 pages. 13 pages. So I think you know who you are. But seeing such commitment and seeing, such interesting ideas from all of you was really, really motivating for us. So thank you for all the hard work. And with that, as usual, please rename yourself. And when we are talking about feedback from our side, please make sure that you raise your hand if you have any questions. We will have a question and answer time period, but if you have a pressing question, please feel free to raise your hand. And then we will give you a bit of program refresher so that those of you who couldn't join the last session and couldn't watch the recording are updated. And then we will share some feedback that applies to everybody. And then we don't have a lot of guidelines because we have shared the template that kind of helps you to give us information that we need and also to kind of evaluate the strength of your ITP. And the guideline that we have for that is mainly depending on the submissions we have read, right, from you. So we thought this could help. And then, yes, we will discuss some of the specs that we talk about today, and then we will check out. So today we are here. We are having the feedback meeting, 17th of August. And then 31st of August will be the main deadline for you when you will submit the big, using the template that we have provided you, the detailed innovative teaching practice plan. And then you will have about a week to, we will not give you any feedback from your final submission. So just to make that very clear, you will not receive any more feedback after you submit your final draft. In case we see that some team really needs help or, the idea you have presented is still needs a little bit of, critical reflection or elaboration, then we will individually reach out to you. And then for 7th of September, you will have an opportunity to pitch your ITP, so that you get to kind of, if there are any feedback from your peers, then you get it as well. And again, the invitation criteria for the on-site conference in Slovenia, as you know, the active participation in the self-learning phase and self-learning and team learning phase, and then successful completion of the innovative teaching practice. And then, we will evaluate depending on the strength of your innovative teaching practice, and then also your commitment to implementing it after the conference. So first of all, congratulations, 98% of you have submitted your innovative teaching practice. We are not telling you exactly how many teams didn't submit, but I think you can guess. So for us, we in our project, Angie and I, we always very critically reflect on the fact that teachers are really busy. You have a lot of responsibilities in addition to teaching. So the fact that you have made the time to submit and to work on your innovative teaching practice means a lot to us. So really a big thank you and congratulations. So with that, before I go there, I'll stop for a moment. I'll stop sharing. Let's hear from some of you. How was this experience of working in your team? So, it could be challenging, motivating, whatever it is, please feel free to share with us. We will hear from a few of you. Who would like to go first? I see that Anna raised her hand and Tito. So Anna and then Tito and then Fernando.
Thank you, and hi everybody. I don't know if the rest of my team are here. I can't actually see their names yet, but anyway, yes, we had such an interesting idea, or an idea that we find very interesting. So we have actually started implementing it already. So we have started a collaboration project between us, and to just try out some of the ideas that we have, and some of the AI apps that we want to try out and see how they actually work. So we are already collaborating in our schools with our students. Yes.
Fantastic, Anna. Thank you. Thank you for the update. Do keep us posted, and if you if any interesting things are happening.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We collect everything on a Google site, and I have just sat this morning. It's 11 o'clock here in Finland. I've sat the whole morning here setting up the Google site with all the pages there and what we are going to do. So yes, when we are done, I can send you a link to the site so that you can see
absolutely
what our final product actually
that would be fantastic.
how it turned out.
Thank you. Tito?
Hello. With our team, it's not easy, but the thing it's going on the right way. We have dividing the things one and the other must do, and it's very interesting because my partner has good ideas. It's difficult to make in contact with them, but we are doing great things, and the final result, I think it will be very good. I think.
Sorry to hear that.
We're gonna put everything on G Suite, everything, all the materials, and then we share the final product. Can we do it like this? We can do like this. Yes, it's possible.
Okay.
The ITP document have the links and all the information to access to that kind of thing. But we think that's the best way to share things with other colleagues.
Thank you.
But it's everything okay.
Okay, that's great to hear. Hopefully, those of you who face some challenges working in a team, hopefully you had a little bit of reflection also when your students are facing challenges in their team, like how do you resolve it and how do you kind of take it forward. So thank you, Tito, for saying that despite the challenges, your team still managed to make sure that everything is okay with the ITP. Fernando?
Yeah, good afternoon here from Vietnam. So basically the experience is amazing. If I'm going to describe it in a sentence, it's more on unifying the diversity that we have because we are from totally different backgrounds, social sciences and biological sciences. And the good thing about it is that we try to, make things connected by a specific topic. And we're still working on it, but the enthusiasm is there. And one thing that I appreciated with this collaboration is that we really focus on the experience on providing with the students. Regardless of the challenges of AI, we wanted to bring out the best in them through the different topics that we're discussing. And I guess that is also our takeaway because as their teachers, we tend to be in their shoes to make sure that their learning experiences that we can provide, it's also being tested by us. So we're so excited testing different AI tools. It's also being questioned by us so that we can identify which works better from different cultures and at the same time, different levels. So it's a work in progress, but it's a very good and wonderful learning journey for both of us.
Thank you. That's very glad to hear, Fernando. Luisa and then Daiva, and then we will move on with the feedback.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So, Jyoti and everybody, it was a great challenge for us, for me and JD April from Philippines to start this project. We have been working on the ITP with great enthusiasm, and we have come up with some interesting ideas. Basically because we come from different backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, and different school backgrounds. She's a science teacher, whereas I'm an English language teacher. And we have thought about developing a mutual project on developing electrical technology skills combined with English learning skills using the CLIL method. So far, we have thought about the stages of the project, and ideas have come up very well for both of us. so it works well, but we have some queries in the sense that we still don't know how to, let it know to the authorities in our schools. And we kindly ask for your assistance. And we also invite everybody's opinion on this matter, whether it would be suitable to obtain from you an official letter which we could address to our schools, informing them on the project and on acceptance for implying students. We would need that, at least in my country, for GDP rights.
Thank you, Luisa. For this, we have a participant. Let me see if he's here, Adam. Sorry for again putting you on the spotlight, but the reason is because you were the only teacher with whom we formally applied for a grant and did a project. So you had to go through approval processes from your principals, from your headmaster. So I recommend that maybe you gather some thought to I don't know, comment on to support Luisa. But Luisa, we can also, if you send us an email describing exact challenges you were facing or the exact scenario, then maybe internally discuss, and then ASEF will be happy to help kind of process that. But I'll invite Adam later to comment on that. That might be applicable for a lot of you as well in terms of the approval processes. Daiva, the final participant. Thank you, Luisa. Yeah, Daiva.
Hello. I'll try to be short. Yes, I'm very glad with my group, Angelica and Chuka, and different cultures, different schools, different students, but we managed to work on our idea. But the challenge, what we met, is about how deep or what is the way IE should be used in this. In lessons, because I teach information technology, my colleague teach English, and the challenge was to go to the main understanding what is AI in learning, in schools, in teachers' work. But I think we managed to do that. But still, how deep or what are the ways AI should be used in our task? It was while we were listening lectures, it looks so, it's nice, it's a nice way, it's a nice way. And when we started to work on our idea with how to do that, what a lot of organizational challenges, how students will react, also about their rights, and yes, how to find the main point, what is AI in the school. Yeah, but the work was really interesting and nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daiva. Remind me again, in your innovative teaching practice, did you talk about climate change?
Yes, about animals.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Actually, I was going to mention that example later. So thanks for. So what I actually liked about the ITP, now that you mentioned it, I think, so in Daiva's ITP, what they did, instead of just talking about talking about AI, they chose a topic, and then within that topic, in an interdisciplinary way, they are trying to kind of encourage students to use AI tools and then also be reflective about it. So those of you who are in a team with, you are teaching mathematics and your colleague is teaching literature, so interdisciplinary way, finding a common ground, finding a topic that applies to everybody, sustainable development, climate change, criminal justice, I don't know. So finding that topic, and within that topic, in a creative way, designing something, something that benefits your students, we would say that's one way to go about it. So with that, let's share my screen again. But if you recognize that it's your summary, we have been reading all of it, for the last almost whole week actually. So we forgot actually who wrote this summary. So don't worry if it's your summary. But we just thought that it will help you to kind of help you as a big team to reflect. So hopefully you can see my screen again. We wanted a summary, right? A summary that kind of gives us a whole overview to kind of understand exactly what you are trying to either solve or innovate in terms of your teaching practice or in terms of supporting your whole school. So if you read this to summary, so some of you have used the innovative teaching template that we have given you, which is great. However, this time when we were preparing the feedback, what we really looked into is your summary. Why? If you get selected to participate in the on-site conference, or if you are applying for a grant somewhere, if you are applying for support from your school, from your government, they will not have time to go through your whole innovative teaching practice, like pages after pages. What they will look at is the summary. So having a good summary that kind of already gives a whole overview, as well as kind of make the reader understand the significance, and also in terms of, the practicality, in terms of the timeline, like if it's clear, chances are that's when you are going to get the support. So for example, the first one, we will be creating a lesson plan and instruct videos to teach students how to create a digital story about a scientist and scientific discovery using AI tools. I quite love the idea that you were creating a digital story about a scientist and scientific discovery, which seems is kind of fun, right? It's creative, it's fun. However, that's in a way, let's say, a sentence in your summary, but it does not give us the whole overview to kind of say, okay, exactly what you are trying to achieve. So we encourage that, you try to kind of create a summary that has some important elements that we will be talking about a bit later. The other one, the term learn sync refers to a notion in which learning is synchronized, aligned, or customized to each learner's unique needs, preferences, and speed. It suggests a specialized and coordinated approach to education in which learning processes is customized. I think this is one of the longest sentence I have read in a while. So that's why I was just reading it out loud. I think you have a great idea for this ITP. However, you are in a way giving me background information, right? You were giving us background information that can come later. From here, what we struggle to kind of understand is your motivation, and exactly why you were doing it. So in a way, we got a little bit lost, right? So these are just, there are a lot of actual examples like this, where for us, it was a bit challenging to grasp the whole overview. Now let's move on to an example. So not an example, because the one that had the whole overview, it's a little bit difficult to fit into one slide. And also we did not want to kind of give away the whole idea that they developed to all of you, but we kind of, there were at least 4 to 5 innovative teaching practices that were brilliant in terms of giving the whole overview. So this is what they had. They had a very nice introduction line that immediately caught our attention and know what they are trying to do. The second, they addressed objective or goal. Some of you mentioned project goals, some of you mentioned project objectives. So within your objective, you kind of try to tell us what you are trying to achieve. And some of you also very clearly told us what was your motivation. And then target audience. Is it for your students, and what is your students' age range? Because with your students' age range also comes, for example, issues related to GTP or PDPA, since this is about artificial intelligence in education. In case it's related to gathering data or engaging students using certain type of tools, ethical aspect and data privacy, these could be some of the issues that you might face, right? So having the target audience and being reflective about the challenges that you might encounter and having some solutions ready, that's really, really important, because all of you work in a school setting where these issues are crucial to think about. And then in the good summary that we had, we also saw either you had a project outline, or you called it implementation plan, or you called it timeline, where you mentioned about key tasks that you are going to do, key activities that you are going to implement, or key responsibilities that each of you are going to share in terms of implementing it. For example, I remember there was a project where you were having some school visits in Estonia, and then you were having in Indonesia. And then you kind of gave us a clear overview of exactly how you are going to, what you are going to do. what kind of students you are going to involve. You mentioned about selecting, for example, top students from each class so that they can, so that you can kind of make it more systematic and organized. So that was interesting to read. And then the key focus area also would be, instead of just teaching, why are you developing this innovative teaching practice? What are the impact and outcome from it, right? That's really, really crucial. I think it was in one of the innovative teaching practice where you mentioned about, okay, we want to do this and we are targeting sustainable development goal 5.2, sustainable development goal 4.3, and how. So you really beautifully kind of told us, yes, sustainable development goal, it matters in the bigger context, and through our innovative teaching practice we are trying to mitigate, we are trying to achieve this and that. So that was very specific, right? And then in terms of limitations, so considering the reality, considering that there are challenges, as Louisa mentioned just now, about having the approval processes from school and school leaders, right? So there are challenges, there are risks, there are restrictions, and there are issues that blocks you from either implementing it or from working together with your students at certain point, even after implementing it. So in terms of these limitations, if you are reflective at this stage, later when we read your innovative teaching practice, or even after you finalize the innovative teaching practice, you get invited to come to the conference, at least we would know what is ASEF's limitation or what is ASEF's scope to support you. So we can prepare as well. And then even if we cannot support you directly, we can maybe look for partners who can support you, or look for potential expertise, or in a way, maybe we already have some guidelines in place depending on the school collaborations that we have been implementing and supporting our teachers with. So from the insights, then we can at least either advise you or connect you or support you in any other way. So that's really, really crucial. So thanks to those of you who mentioned the limitations and resources and guidelines. So when you were designing this innovative teaching practice, chances are, since as Daiva just mentioned, she was struggling with the fact that artificial intelligence, it's a new topic, right? So what kind of tools are going to be useful for your students if you are implementing it with the students? If you are doing something for your teacher colleagues, you have participated in this school collaboration, your teacher colleagues haven't, right? So they might not have some of the critical ideas that you have already built. So in that case, what kind of reading materials are you going to share with them? So since this was a summary, of course, we did not ask for a list of reading or anything, right? For example, I remember it was, I think, Susanna and Vivian in their innovative teaching practice, they mentioned the ethical guidelines of artificial intelligence. So that's something that they will be consulting, they will be focusing on. So having this kind of shows that you are thinking this through from different angles and being reflective about it. And some of you have already clearly mentioned about what are going to be offline resources, what are going to be online resources. So so far these are some of the key elements that came out strongly and gave us a whole overview to based on those ITPs that we thought actually are in a way well defined. Any comments? Maybe I can invite some of you. I can stop sharing for a quick moment. And then if you have any feedback, any comments or anything at all, please feel free to share with us. I saw that BPN is laughing, so maybe you have a comment or I don't know, something to share. Please go ahead. If you do.
No, I can just say I'm in contact with Susanna and we're also on WhatsApp and we almost feel like friends now, and it's so great. I mean, she's on the other side of the world and we're exchanging. She just sent me a great article, and yeah, it's really a joy to be in this collaboration. It's just a lot that we want to do, and I hope everything gets to a nice finish and also be shared with the whole community. Thank you for all your support and this great opportunity.
Thank you, Vivian, and thank you, Susanna, also for working hard on your innovative teaching practice. I think it's safe to mention, I think, that their innovative teaching practice were actually very well defined in terms of all the criteria we just mentioned. So thank you for already doing a great job. Luciana, you raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Jyoti. So I'm going to ask you about the feedback. Can we have the feedback in our email after this?
Yes, absolutely. So what's going to happen today, because, you know, considering the time is not possible, and also the scope we have to prepare for the conference, and also we have the another parallel activity going on, faculty collaboration, it was not possible to have team meetings with almost 50 teams. So what we did, we gathered all the feedback that kind of gives a whole overview to all of you, like helps all of you. So we thought we'll address those. And then what we are going to do in batches, please bear with us, it's going to take time. We will send you an email, team-specific email only to your team. I think those of you who participated in our last collaborations, you know that we will reach out to you with some team feedback.
Okay, one more, Jyoti.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, we plan to implement this project in our school. I'm with Ruth from Estonia, and I'm in Indonesia, and we try to implement it in our school. So we plan to implement this project in September until October this year. So should we update it with ASEF, or how we should update it? I mean, because we don't have any webinar anymore, right, until the 7th September. So how should we update our project? Thank you. Sure.
Great question. I think most of you might also be thinking about it as Louisiana. I'm going to address that in a bit. Please hold on to that thought. Let me quickly share my screen again. I'm not sure if any more hands are raised. I forgot to check. Any of the, I don't know if there are any more comments. Let me quickly look at the chat box. I haven't had a chance to. I think Angie, maybe you might be keeping track of the chat box. Please let me know if there are any concerns or questions that we should be addressing. Okay, thank you so much, Angie.
Christina, raise her hand.
Oh, Christina. Okay, go ahead, Christina.
Thank you. I would like to ask if at the end everyone's projects will be uploaded in the page so that we get feedback and we may use each other's work and get inspiration from this in the long term, in the short term and in the long term as well.
So in the long term, that's something we are planning. That's something, of course, it has to be with the permission from, for example, let's say, you know, your team and you, right? If it's okay with you to share it with everybody, that's when we are going to do that. However, at this stage, we will not upload all the innovative teaching practice anywhere, because I think we will only focus on uploading the final ones. So right now you have submitted a summary to us, and the detailed innovative teaching practice, it's mainly for us to evaluate the strength, because, you know, in from the template you can see it's it's done in a way where you are giving us the basic information as well as some elements that we can potentially evaluate, right? But your exact innovative teaching practice, the way you are implementing it, the way you are setting your goals, for sure will be different. So when we try to upload something publicly, it will be more focused on the innovative teaching practice. So I think for that, perhaps we can, I'm not sure, we have 2 handbooks where we highlighted participants' work, the teaching module or a school collaboration project that they worked on. So maybe we will internally think what kind of materials we can share with you to support you. So with that, let me share my screen again. So again, these were the key elements that gave us kind of the whole overview of an innovative teaching practice. Having said that, it does not mean that just because it gave us the whole overview, they are strong. Let's also kind of, you know, focus on that, because yes, we have the whole overview, but then the next one you submit, which will be the detailed innovative teaching practice, that will give us an opportunity then to kind of evaluate in terms of the strength. For example, you have the key objective, right? Then we are going to evaluate in terms of, is this objective realistic? Is this objective achievable? So we haven't gone to that level yet for the summary, but for the next one, that's what we will do. And then we will, for example, look at the impact you are trying to create, and then whether the innovative teaching practice you are building, whether it kind of violates any ethical issues or not, or it supports any ethical issues or not, and it's whether it will be an example for other teachers to follow or not. So we are going to focus on all of that. And then so okay, what advice do we have for you depending on reading all of your summaries? First of all, the innovative teaching practice, artificial intelligence in education topic. So some of you who gave us a really nice summary with all the elements, even then the specific area, the specific artificial intelligence in education area that you were addressing is not coming across very clearly. So we want you to we request that you focus on your motivation and your interest, because when you are motivated and really interested on a topic, that's when you are going to, chances are it's going to come to you really easy. So we request that you focus on your motivation and as well as interest, and how the specific AI area that you are looking into improves your teaching. So when we talk about improving your teaching, it doesn't necessarily have to be, enhancing your pedagogy or enhancing teaching a specific subject. It can be something that helps your teacher colleagues in the whole school as well. For example, if you're doing something that raises awareness about a specific AI tools, whether it's challenges or whether it's effectiveness. So that's something that you can also look into, right? So define that specific area. And again, this the next one is a little bit related, because the topic area that you select, it also has to do with the scope. The scope of the innovative teaching practice is actually really, really important, because if you don't define the scope clearly, as Daiva was saying that she was struggling, right? So having a specific focus area and having, by being reflective on the realistic resources that you have, as well as the time, that's really, really, really important. Because one thing that we noticed when you write your summary, a lot of you were just telling us what's your aim. And your aims are really motivating, we felt really motivated trying to see what you were trying to achieve. So, but that's a vision, right? You were aiming for something, and that's what you want to achieve. But what we did not see is, this is your aim, and how are you going to achieve that, and is it realistic? So that's something that you can look into when you are trying to define the scope of your innovative teaching practice. And we suggest that for that, you look into the resources you have in your school. Some of your schools, you have really, high level of digital infrastructure and resources, and some of your schools, you may not have that. But that does not mean that you cannot build a really brilliant innovative teaching practice. So by focusing on the realistic resources and the timeline is something that you can kind of work around to find the right scope. And innovative elements. So I remember one examples where you are looking into suggesting your students to use ChatGPT to design scientific experiments. So that's what you have wrote in your summary. But then the question is, what is the innovative element? Is it using ChatGPT? And you need to tell us why your students using ChatGPT is an innovative element. It can be just that they are relying on an online resource, right? So what is the innovative element in terms of letting your students use a specific AI tools? So we need to know, when you were telling us about exact things that you were going to implement, how does it make a difference in terms of the way you used to teach or the way your students used to learn? What is it changing? Is it making your teaching practices more creative, and that's your innovative part? Is it more effective and it's helping your students, increasing your students' learning outcome? Is it interdisciplinary? As I just mentioned, one ITP was focusing on climate change and then AI. So is it interdisciplinary? Is it engaging? Are you doing it for creating, increasing the engagement level in your classroom? We don't know, it could be anything, but we request that you focus on finding an innovative elements, innovative area that sets you teaching apart in terms of how you used to teach before and how you teach now. So that's an area that we will be looking into as well. And then yes, in terms of implementation, the timeline is very crucial. The type of task you are carrying out is very crucial. For example, if you are trying to, let's say, connect your students from both schools, as Luciana, she was mentioning, between Estonia and Indonesia, are there practicalities? Are there challenges? Are there approval processes? What are these, right? So if you have the task clearly defined, that's when you kind of you can figure out exactly what you need to do. And with that comes responsibilities, because some of you mentioned to us that you can work alone. That is fantastic. However, this project, we encourage to bring teachers together from Asia and Europe, and Europe and Asia and Asia, doesn't really matter. But what we really want to encourage you is work in a team. So this team learning culture, that peer-to-peer support culture is very, very important. So how you define your responsibilities, how you allocate your responsibilities, how you support your colleague, it's really important. That's why I really appreciate Tito was saying that they had challenges, but they managed it. So yes, of course, you will face challenges, but how you overcome them, what kind of attitude, you have to support your colleagues and also to support you as well, right? So having a clear sense of responsibility and support, I actually should have written support here as well, is really, really important in your implementation plan. And then again, I have already mentioned about the limitations earlier. I will not repeat, but please focus on the limitations so that you know if there are any alternate plans that you can come up with to mitigate the limitation. And when it comes to impact and outcome, of course, we will be looking into, since this is a topic focusing on artificial intelligence, and there are a lot of conversations surrounding ethical aspect of it. So we will, for this specific innovative teaching practice, we will look into if it's ethical, effective, if it's inclusive, because whatever you are designing, does it apply to all of your students, or it's only for a specific type of students and colleagues? So inclusive, inclusion is a huge part of our work as an organization as well. We will be kind of focusing on that as well. And most importantly, if your innovative teaching practice is relevant, whatever you are doing in your teaching and learning context, is it relevant? And is it achievable within a realistic time framework? If other teachers want to take an inspiration from your innovative teaching practice, is it replicable? So for example, one thing that we try to focus on is the multiplier effect, right? We have the project where we can only work with a selected number of teachers, and then we can create this capacity building project for you. But we also want you to support other teachers who do not have the opportunity to be in a platform like this, right? So whatever you are designing, can other teachers take some inspiration to improve their teaching and learning? So so that's why one area in the ITP template, we advise, we ask for, do you have any advice for other teachers who want to kind of either design or implement this innovative teaching practice? And yes, accessible, that also a little bit, it's related to inclusion as well. So these are some of the areas that we will be focusing on, some of the key areas. And then finally, moving back to the innovative elements, one thing that is at the core of our heart as an bi-regional organization, where we really appreciate diversity, we focus on diversity, and we really focus on intercultural elements. I think coming from two regions, coming from different countries, in this platform, you have that opportunity where you can create this as a really beautiful intercultural experience for your students. So perhaps in this international collaboration, intercultural element could be one area where you can focus on to make it more innovative. So to make it unique as well. So please make the best use of this platform in terms of your colleagues' diverse background. And We so far, apart from the advice we have for the list that we want to give us a whole overview, this is something you can look into. Earlier, we have written a guideline for teachers in Korea for designing international collaboration, international exchange program. This is an innovative teaching practice, but chances are you are going to treat this as a project when you go to the implementation phase, since you come from 2 different countries. So when you try to mainly work on the implementation plan, we suggest that you can consult this SMART framework that focuses on, you know, a specific goal, and if the goals are measurable, if the goals are achievable, and if they are relevant, and if they are carried out in a realistic time frame. So we will share the PPT with you where you can access from this link. Maybe I will see later if I can also post this in the chat box. Yeah, so that's about it. I don't have any other comments. We will have a discussion, but before that, let me quickly remind you that your deadline for the whole innovative teaching practice submission using the template we have given you is on 31st of August, Thursday, 2 weeks from now. Please do not send us like a lot of pages, because a lot doesn't mean it's great, right? Try to express it in a way that is easy and clear for us to understand. We are really looking forward to, you know, your presentations on 7th of September, because that's when we get to hear from you about your innovative teaching practice, right? So we are really excited for that session. And let's just stop my screen for now so that we can take some questions and then also hear from you, and also any other advice you have. First of all, I want to invite Adam to comment on Louisa's challenge earlier, so that if some of you are facing it, can also benefit from it. Please, Adam, go ahead. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Let me start by saying that it's crucial to have the headmaster on your side. I mean, whenever I carry out a project, or whenever I try to ask or invite my colleagues at work to join my initiatives, I always talk to my headmaster first. Personally, I am a very happy person because my headmaster is very supportive, and whenever I propose something, he always says yes. But the most important thing is to explain, I think, the benefits students and other teachers may get by joining, for example, an initiative like the one we are working right now with the ASEF help. Another thing is that your headmaster may spread the information about the whole project at school, may help you engage other teachers. Personally, I love working with some other teachers. It's always better to have 2, 3, 4 other teachers on board because they can help you, you know, on different work, and they can help you carry out tasks. They can help you, of course, you know, summarize everything, choose students to participate, etc., etc. And the role of the headmaster is crucial here. Of course, the headmaster may also help you to find some financial support. I mean, you can apply if you would like to, for example, make this project, this initiative, you know, a project. You can apply, for example, to Visegrad Fund, as we did a few years ago. In Europe, we can apply to Erasmus Plus, and you know, getting financial support is possible, and the role of the headmaster is crucial with that as well. I think that's okay. And maybe one more thing, when you ask your headmaster to help you, to support you, you can create with him or with her a timeline for specific stages, and thanks to that, your project, your initiative will be more realistic and achievable, I believe. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Adam. I think absolutely what Adam said. I mean, that's how also he managed it as well, right? So earlier, going back to our comments on your summary, it's really crucial that you have a very solid summary, because when you were, for example, trying to have the headmaster on your side, they would want to know what you were doing, right? So to be able to clearly communicate that, you need to first articulate that for yourself. So that's when we hope that the exercise, when you are writing the summary and the working on the innovative teaching practice with the template, it helps you to kind of clearly define different aspects of it. And also, as Adam just mentioned, there are different grants. He's based in Europe. If we speak from Asia, there are ASEAN, different types of ASEAN grant, and a platform called Simeo. I think our teachers from the Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines, you might know about it. There are other governments related grant. So let's say, I mean, we want to take all of you to the conference, but unfortunately we have limited funding, right? So that's why we have to, in a way, although we don't really like to kind of evaluate and only take a selective a handful, but unfortunately that's the reality. So we hope that it doesn't, those of you who don't get to come to the conference, it doesn't demotivate you, because there are other ways to take your innovative teaching practice forward. And of course, once this is part of the ASEFClassNet school collaboration project, and we will be supporting you with that kind of processes. If you, for example, applying for a grant and you need a support letter, or you need us to connect with someone that we might know. So don't, like, that's another step after the virtual phase that you will be working on. Earlier we had a question about implementation. You already want to implement in your school right away right now. That's great to hear. So we cannot say, we cannot prevent you from what you spontaneously want to do in terms of what works in your school, what works for your team member. We suggest that for ASEFs, in terms of the flow that we have currently, you have the next deadline, and after that you get to implement it, right? So those of you who will have the opportunity to come to the conference, there will be an Innovathon day where you will get to pitch it in front of the expert, and then you will have you will receive immediate feedback from the expert as well, so to strengthen the idea to take it further. So for that, that's another process. But right now, if practicality-wise implementation is something that you are really excited about, please go ahead, take it forward. Just keep us in the loop, as well as for us, please also stay connected in a way where, for example, if we meet the deadline, and then if it's an implementation, if you have already implemented it, frame the narrative in that way when you submit it to us, so that we know where is the what is the status of your innovative teaching practice and what do you need. I saw that Christina and Fitra raised their hand. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I would like you to specify to us how many pages should our ITP be, because it is nice if we all keep within similar length.
Yeah. So thank you, Christina. We would say, depending on the template we have given you, not more than 3 to 5 pages, not more than that. Because if you give us, I think if you know exact details of what you are going to do, that's good for you. But for us, time-wise, we also need to read it very, very quickly, and then grasp the content, grasp the strength very quickly. So it has, please do present it to us in a way where it's easy for us to understand without reading so much. So that's something we highly, highly suggest.
Okay, so it is crucial that we are within this limit,
yes, and
word limit. Okay.
Yes, and the way you are presenting is, if you can reflect in a way where, sometimes you can write 1 page to express an idea, sometimes 3 lines are enough. So having very precise way of presenting, precise and clear way of presenting is what's going to help us. Yeah.
Is presentation going to be through a PPT or slides or via a Word document?
So for this,
how long is it going
yes.
to last? Should it be?
So the deadline that we have is, we have already shared the template, and the template is available on the learning platform. And most of you have actually used the template to send us the summary. So I think those of you who already wrote a lot of pages, it's easy for you now to kind of reduce it, I hope. So that's the template that you already have. And for 7th of September, the presentations that you are going to have, it's going to be, consider this as an elevator pitch, since so many of you will be presenting and we have only 2 hours timeline. And we also have a concluding remarks from our executive director. So it will be not more than 3 minutes pitch. So why are we having this? It's also give us a final opportunity to hear your pitch and see how you're presenting it, and then maybe after the deadline you have some time to also kind of strengthen your innovative teaching practice. It will be an opportunity for our executive director to hear about your project as well, because we are, we can have this capacity building program because of the support that we are receiving, right? So it's also important for them to see after the training what you were doing, right? And then it's also an opportunity for us to see if we need to give any feedback when you are pitching it to external stakeholders, either for funding or for approval process from your headmaster. So for those reasons, this is kind of in a way for you to tell us what your ITP is about, and also receive any feedback that we may have. However, most importantly, we are the one now reading all of your innovative teaching practice, but you don't know what your other team members have done, right? So that will be an opportunity for you to learn about everyone's innovative teaching practice. So it's mainly for you, actually, more than it is for us, the 7th of September. Yeah. I saw who else raised hand, Christina, and there was another person. I don't see them anymore on my screen. So any other comments, any other questions, advice, or, anything practical that you need to hear from us? Yes, I see that in the chat box, some of you are mentioning you cannot join the session on 7th of September. In this case, we request that you create a video. So you create a 3-minute video to tell us about your innovative teaching practice that we can upload on the learning platform as well, so that, all of you know about each other's innovative teaching practice. Yeah. Any other comments, feedback? How do you feel? I have a question. I think any of you can. So it's been how many months? About 3 months? 3 months of all of you on the same
sorry,
platform.
Jyoti.
Yes, Fitra.
Actually, I would like to ask you, but and then I cannot ask you because you explained what I'm going to ask you, so everything is clear now. Sorry for that one. So
No
before
worries.
I raise hand, sorry. So everything is clear now. After you answer the previous question. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fitra. I saw that Julia mentioned in the chat box that it's difficult to be connected during summer. Yeah, this is a challenge that we have been facing not just now, for years, trying to find a time frame that works for both our Asian and European teacher. I think time wise we moved it, tried to be a little bit earlier in a way, so that we can catch you before the summer holiday. But then again, we heard in European countries the summer holiday is really long, right? Yeah. So I see Pilar raised hand. Go ahead, Pilar.
Well, my partner is not here. She asked me to tell you that she was not available to attend the class today. And we well, want to just to let you know that one thing is what we wanted to do and one thing is what we could do. So we have to keep it realistic because the resources we had were very different. Legislation was different as well. So we finally went for a project where we could really implement it. Yes, it could be something real. So might be simpler, but it's realistic and it's according to the situation what we have in both countries, so we can both do it. So yes, we would like to do something different or more creative, but with the resources we had available, that's what we could do.
Yeah,
I hope it is okay.
Of course. Thank you, Pilar. And I think it's important that we address this when you talk about, something creative and something simple. If you are doing something simple, doesn't mean that it's not creative. In fact, that's what we want, because we know that considering the responsibilities you have in a school, considering that it's a short timeline, we are not expecting anything complicated. And also, if it's complicated, it means that it's not clearly defined, right? So what we are really looking for is something that is within your scope. That practically works for both you and your partner, and that actually solves the problem. Like doing something, whether it's in terms of your teaching practice or supporting your teachers in your school, whatever it is, that it actually mitigates the gap that you have, at least, either in your classroom or in your school. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think we have 4 more minutes. So if we don't have any more questions, we can wish you all the best, or we can stick around for 3 more minutes now and then see if any of you have any more comments, questions, or.
May I?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I'm doing a job of construction of an Erasmus project to put everything we are made now to here in Europe. It's possible to have funds to work with everything we do and join countries and everything. I only, because now here we don't have all the information, because the Erasmus in Portugal, it's closed. The people are not there, and I need to ask them where can we submit that. But in Facebook I will put this structure, then we can, in all the countries, we can use it to put a global project. And I think will be very interesting after what we have doing here, continue and share everything with all the people, will be very interesting. And I think we can do that. Will be very nice to maintain and have funds to make the things working after we close this project. I will try, but I need to know more specific the times and everything to do the thing very good. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tito. Sorry to hear that the Erasmus project is closed in Portugal, because I remember some of our earlier participants actually were quite active. I think in terms of the external, if you are applying for a grant or if you are applying for a project, from now on, you can already look into and see what's available, because applying for a grant, it takes time. It takes preparation. So, I mean, the innovative teaching practice that you are developing now, slowly, if you, so consider this as a practice trial session, right? Pilot session. Now, after this, you can build on the same idea, maybe, and then catch the grant for next year, the grant that will be next year if you miss the one for this year. I see some comments on the chat box. Let me quickly. Yes, Maria, actually, before we close, that's what I wanted to mention. We will give you the team feedback, individual feedback, because different innovative teaching practice require different feedback in terms of, the strength so far that they have. For some of you, we don't have to give a lot of feedback, but for some of you, we do need to give some very specific feedback. So for that, we are going to start sending the feedback from tomorrow onwards, and we will try to finish by Monday. So if you submitted your innovative teaching practice early to us, chances are we will give you feedback earlier. So watch out for an email from me from tomorrow onwards. Between tomorrow and Monday, you should receive your team feedback. Yeah.
Okay.
I see that is ITP designed for a single class or a course unit in China classes? Okay, regarding that, the innovative teaching practice that you are designing, how you want to design for your classroom, we actually don't want to, advise or control you in any way. That's your decision. You are an educator from your own school. You know your background. You know your scenario. And you know your motivation and your team members' motivation. It has to be in consultation with your team partner. So it's something that is feasible and practical for both of you. That's something we won't advise you, like we won't limit you in a way. Say, whether classroom or whole school. Yeah. I think, okay, Erasmus, I don't see any other question. Okay, Susanna, would it be possible to have a list of funding available per region? Okay, so this is something we can invite you to help us with as well. So some of you are very hands-on when it's come to applying for grant and winning awards. So maybe we know some and we will create a list with that. And then maybe if some of you are already kind of aware of the grants, please do send us an email. So what we will try to do, we will try to create maybe Asia and Europe specific grants and information and then upload it on the e-learning platform. We will need some time for that because currently we are very busy with the preparation for the on-site conference, but we will notify you once we do that. And one recommendations that we will have, please check the government website, like Ministry of Education website of your country. I know that, for example, in Japan, there are grants for education for sustainable development. If you are, yes, this is focused on innovative teaching practice on AI, but you can connect it with sustainable development to make it actually, relevant for the grant. So there are different ways to kind of create that relevance for you. So Ministry of Education website, government website, any other private organizations that you have in your country that focuses on innovative teaching and learning practices. So there are actually different organizations. It's region specific, global, as well as country specific. So also look for them as well. And ASEF will be happy to support you in terms of, whether if you need a letter, recommendations, or even if you want to propose ASEF as a partner, we will be happy to. But in that case, you need to help us and prepare us a bit earlier so that we can also see if it fits the scope for that year. If we want to support you a bit more, in addition to just giving you recommendation letters, if you want us to be a direct partner, we will need to evaluate our scope for that year, but we will be happy to explore that option as well. Yes, for us, it's really meaningful that, we create this platform to bring teachers who really care about supporting their students, improving their teaching practices. So the extra time and effort that you are putting to be a part of this platform, a big thank you for that. So with that, see you on 7th of September, and in between you will receive emails from us and updates from us.